Dead Challenge Duo Podcast, episode number 67. How you doing, Alexander?
Doing great, Andy. How are you? Fine. Drinking a Four Loko Gold. Well, I'm drinking a Foster's. So
we had a good week.
Did you?
we'll get to that as it's Chucky Milk time because we're recording at night. Alex got a new job. We're back to recording at night. Chucky Milk time, everybody.
Yeah, there you go. So that's why my week has been absolutely terrific. When I got this job offer for this new job, I was definitely on cloud nine for a while. You feel it's like too good to be true. You start doubting yourself. Do I really deserve this? That kind of thing. And I thought, well, maybe the reality check comes in when I finally show up and, maybe it's not what I thought it was, because that happens sometimes. But I got to say, thus far, it's been outstanding, and really happy to be where I am today. It's definitely been a journey since the end of September, and took that pit stop along the way at Walmart. But, we're here. So
hey, story tell your kids.
When
your kid's having a rough patch, you can be like, listen, there's one time I got let go, had to work at Walmart.
It's definitely a story. Yeah, it's definitely a story you could tell somebody, and I guess it's sort of motivational in a way. I know I'm pretty proud of myself, and I'm glad I have a great support system in my friends, my wife especially, my family. I could not have gotten through it without them. But what's crazy, man, is I had to call in to it's not a career. It's literally a job that I was doing strictly for money, and I feel bad in a way, because I guess from their perspective I used them, but I did do the work while I was there. But nevertheless, I almost didn't go to the interview for this job that I have now because I was worried Walmart would fire me. And my wife is like, are you kidding me? This job would be amazing. It'd be a career again, kind of like my previous gig. So, I was at my previous job for almost 10 years. I hope I'm here at this current gig for 10 years or more. And there's plenty of opportunity to move up, and it's a great place to work. And boy, it's just made my week outstanding. So enough of me gushing about how things are going well for me. I kind of had a little bit of indigestion earlier this week. So if you want to hear me be miserable about something, because I know there's been a lot of that on the show lately, there you go. Anyway,
I'm a miserable one this time.
Really? How are you miserable?
We'll talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, a fair team lost the Super Bowl. 2 days later, the favorite team trades the best player on the team for nothing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we will talk about that later, and I kind of can't wait for that rant. Actually, rants is what those will be. But moving on to the regular feature here, getting into our regular format, kicking it off with Andy. What have you been watching? What have you been playing this week?
Playing nothing.
Okay.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Watching. Keys, I watched the movie and I forgot the name of the bird. It's a movie about a bird. I watched Mulholland Drive, Paul Schrader, Man in the Room,
Ooh.
Tom Papa's new special, You're Doing Great, and a movie that I would make a DCD Film Club movie because it's super interesting, but it's literally only on the Criterion channel. You can't stream it anywhere. It's called Come and See, and I won't pick it as a film club pick, but I highly recommend it. It's a war movie. It's a Russian movie from 1985, and it's great.
Well, I will probably check that one out. I'll put it on the list of things that I would like to watch with my wife. So this week,
it's not a fun watch.
Well, it's a war movie, right?
Yeah, sure. Yes, it's a war movie, but it's not a typical war movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect a good time going into it, but I do like war movies because I think it's important that we kind of show what war can do to society, to people. And
It's a traumatic movie, if I had to put a genre.
Yeah, in a weird way, those sometimes end up being the most beautiful works because, that it's just part of life. Ravi Zacharias, a Christian apologist that I love listening to because I think he's just such a great orator. Even if you take the religion out of it, he always talks about life is punctuated by pain, because without that, it's like one of those weird things. Without pain, you just don't realize how good the good times truly are. It's kind of weird how life works out that way.
Yeah, that's how Walmart was. You had a bad time at Walmart, now you got to appreciate life. You're not Walmart anymore.
What's funny is I actually stumbled upon that quote, and I'm paraphrasing. I don't know if that's the exact quote. He says it much more eloquently than I ever could, but man, I stumbled upon that quote when I was at that job and while I was waiting for this opportunity to be finalized, basically. And man, it really hit home for me. Yeah. But this week I've been playing quite a bit of Madden. I've been just kind of grinding solos on that and just having fun with Madden. I playing an online game here and there. It's been refreshing. After taking a little bit, it's all mutt, dude. I've actually played a couple games of regs with friends, and that's about it this year. So if I'm not playing friends, I'm not playing regs, I'm playing mutt. I like getting blown out by people. It's fun. Anyway, did a little bit of Madden, did a little bit of World of Warcraft. Been playing a lot of Candy Crush Friends. Love that mobile game. And then as far as watching this week, I said last week that I finished the new season of Sabrina, the Teenage Witch on Netflix. I misspoke. I had one more episode to go. So I thought I had finished it. And I'm like, wait, there's one more episode. This is great. Cause I was kind of sad it was over. So I did finish that. And then I got through the first third of The Irishman on Netflix, and I am enjoying
Great movie.
I am enjoying the heck out of it so far. What?
What about the timing? Do you enjoy the pace? Do you enjoy how long it is?
I think it has to be that long. It's one of the few movies. Yeah, it's one of the few films where I'm actually going to say it. So far, I feel like it justifies the 3 hours because it goes into a lot of detail. It does a lot of setup. It does a lot of character development, and I like that. So I'm looking forward to watching the other 2/3 of it. But me and my wife got into a conversation, and just we'll pick it up tomorrow. Been watching a lot of American Dad. I've been going back and watching some of the more recent seasons that have been on TBS. Been really enjoying that because it's a great show, and I actually think it's gotten better over time. It's one of those weird shows where if you go back to the older episodes, they're good, but I think the newer ones are even better. And then I did get a chance to check out Bull Durham as part of DCD Film Club, and there's some other stuff that I know I'm forgetting, but I
The
really
Lighthouse.
No, I didn't watch The Lighthouse yet. No, didn't. But I did watch Bull Durham with my wife, so we'll get the Ashley take in addition to my take. But I know I'm forgetting stuff. I stumbled into a new show that I really like, and I've been watching a lot of episodes for that. The Prophet on CNBC. Great show. If you like shows like Shark Tank and business shows, highly recommend that one. It's outstanding. And the new season is it's top notch, man. So, anyway, yeah.
Random question.
Sure.
Is there a DCD Film Club review that since the episode came out, you've changed your mind in a positive or negative way on the movie?
Yes.
And which one?
Okay. So, actually, I could probably give you a few. But the one that really sticks out in my mind is Hereditary. Now, if you go back, I seem to remember that I rated it pretty highly. But
I think you gave it a 7.
Okay. So
off the top of my head.
I don't think that that's good enough because I went back and I rewatched portions of the film, and me and Andy actually had a follow-up discussion on Hereditary. that was not part of the podcast. It was, I don't even know what we were doing, but might have been after one of the podcasts, but it's excellent. I mean, it's just so much better than I gave it credit for overall. I would also say that I probably gave too much credit to Absence of Malice. I feel like that was not as good as I rated it, because again, upon further introspection and looking at it, I just realized it wasn't as good. I would be interested to hear if you have one, Andy.
Under the Skin, I think I gave it an 8. I think it deserves more.
You're probably right
fantastic.
On that. It's amazing. It's amazing. There's been some really so the thing about DCD Film Club that I'm proud of is every once in a while we'll do something that's like kind of like a pop culture Americana style film. So like the one that jumps out to me is like There's Something About Mary or Top Gun, right? So like, yeah, not classic cinema, but they have really good merits, and they're great for what they are and what they're supposed to be. But a lot of times we look at stuff that's like really what I would call high level. You know, like Under the Skin is a very good example of that, and something that wasn't even on my radar. I didn't even know it existed, and it's just this phenomenal sci-fi film. That also takes a look at our society. It's really weird, but it's good. It's great.
Yeah. The reason I bring this, I had this question on my reserve thing, but Dumbest Sphinx rewatched Harold and Maude. He had it as an 8 and a 10 originally, and now he has it as a 10 out of 10.
Harold and Maude is something that I regret not purchasing. I paid.
There's a Criterion version.
Ooh, I might buy that, because I paid $2.99, I think, to rent it. And when I got done with it, I said, God, I wish I'd purchased it, because I think my wife would have enjoyed it. And then my wife asked me about it. She listened to that week's podcast, and she goes, what's this Harold and Maude movie that you're talking about? I've never even heard of it before. And I told her, I never heard of it. And it's almost 50 years old, and it's amazing. It just just completely blew me away. And she's like, well, I want to watch it. I'm like, I'm going to end up having to buy this thing, but that's fine. I'm happy to pay for it.
Yeah, it's great.
So moving into listener questions this week, we have a few. So I do want to thank them for that. The first one is from Daniel at Reasons I'm Broke on Twitter. Check him out at thereasonsimbroke.com. He has a podcast. It's a great one. It's my favorite podcast aside from this one, because I'm incredibly biased towards myself. I'm just kidding. But it is a great podcast. It's definitely my fave. So he asks, thoughts on Dan Houser leaving Rockstar. To put this in perspective, Dan Houser was responsible for the writing on many, many big Rockstar titles like Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto, just Bully. Countless games. Yeah, Bully. So my thoughts are, boy, it's really scary. And the only thing that I could compare it to is my favorite band of all time is Van Halen. When David Lee Roth left Van Halen, he says he left. Van Halen says they fired him. Who cares? They get rid of him. They bring in Sammy Hagar. Love Sammy Hagar. I love that iteration of Van Halen. But I'll always prefer the Raw stuff. The Raw stuff was that hardcore, hard rock, kick you in the teeth type sound. The Hagar stuff, there was a little bit of that, but it was a lot of ballads. They had a distinctively different sound after Roth's exit. And when I see something like a Dan Houser leaving Rockstar, I kind of worry, no pun intended, because we're talking about a company called Rockstar. I do worry that we're going to have a distinctively different narrative tone in Rockstar games going forward. Out of all the games that we just listed, the one that Andy brought up is the one that I thought the job done with Bully was just, God, I just loved that game. I fell in love with it. I never played the original on PS2, but I played Scholarship Edition. Fell in love with the game, got every achievement, did the 100%, everything you could possibly do in the game. I did it. because I just didn't want the game to end. It was just that fun for me. And I would also say that Red Dead Redemption, I think, is the best take on a Western game probably ever. So I think it's concerning. If I'm, if I'm Rockstar, I'd be a little worried. But who knows? Maybe they're going to have...
War ass?
I don't know.
I'm kidding. I was trying to think of something else.
There's not many out there, but...
I was trying.
the Gun was pretty good. That was a game made by Activision, but it didn't really have a very good storyline. Certainly not like Red Dead. Red Dead Redemption
Dog
was...
McCree?
Oh, God. That was like a full motion video mix game.
Yeah.
I remember selling that one at GameStop, and it would always get returned. But yeah, I'm concerned. But what I will say is this: is I don't think it's the end of the world. I think that part of what makes Rockstar games so good is not necessarily just the writing, but the quality control. I can't really think of a Rockstar game that's ever come out. I know somebody's gonna... State of Emergency. There you go. Okay, that's one. But every Grand Theft Auto, and I'm talking about going all the way back to the top-down GTA games that originally came out on PC. Grand Theft Auto 3 moving to a 3D environment, they were all excellent. The quality control is top-notch. Every Midnight Club was a good game. I don't see that changing, and I think while storyline's important, I think that quality control isn't going anywhere, so I think Rockstar will be just fine. Andy, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I'm not really this is going to be a controversial take, but Red Dead 2 kind of flopped in comparison to GTA. Massively successful, sold millions and billions of copies. But Red Dead Online was a flop, I guess is the best way to put it.
Definitely.
And I guess I'd be interested in seeing what he does in the future. If he's just retiring, it's fine. Do what you do want to do. But I would like to see him do like indie stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's the potential that he could go somewhere else and do some great things. We saw that with Bungie. They left the Microsoft, area, and they went out and they made Destiny, which was a great game, and Destiny 2, which I know people are kind of divided on that one, but regardless, they made, in my opinion, Destiny, the series, it's the greatest gun game on the market right now. Borderlands would be a close second.
It's free to play too.
It is free to play now, so there you go on that. But yeah, I mean, I'm a little concerned, but it could be good. We could get some good stuff out of it. I mean, look at Tim Schafer. He split off and he did his own thing, and we got great stuff like Psychonauts, or Brutal Legend.
We got what's the guy's name? I'm gonna get crucified for not remembering his name. Kojima left, and he made Death Stranding, the best walking simulator ever made.
To be fair, though, I mean, Kojima kind of got pushed out. They really did him dirty at Konami, and kudos to him for betting on himself, bouncing back, and having a very successful game in Death Stranding. And I'll be honest with you, I can't imagine what's next, because you just never know with Kojima. But whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be great. So thanks for the question, Daniel. Definitely a really interesting news article. I had no idea that it happened until he tweeted that at me. So thank you again. Next question here comes from @CubanSlim on Twitter. Our good buddy Ruben Jim. He asks, "Hey, @Swordfish Show, biased and non-biased opinions from you on your fits for QB for the Bucs. There are plenty of free agent choices out there. Who do you want, and who do you think you'll end up with?" So I want Andy's take on this too, because I think he's going to be able to give me a non-biased opinion. I don't know that I can really give you a non-biased opinion because
that's how opinions work.
I'm just a huge Bucs fan, so it's kind of hard.
That's how opinions work. You can't have an unbiased opinion.
It's just really hard for me to try and look at it from the standpoint of someone who doesn't follow the team. But what I will say is this: I watch every game, so at least I'm knowledgeable, even if there is bias. But so I I really haven't changed on this one. Like, realistically, I think if I had to put money on it, I think what will happen is Jameis Winston gets franchise tagged and the Bucs draft a QB, not necessarily in the first round, but they draft a QB to be a backup / maybe someone they can groom for the future. So there's quite a few quarterbacks that I think could fit that bill in the draft. I think the long shot is that there are rumblings that the Bucs are, if they were available, might be interested in Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees. But if I had to put money on it, realistically, I think Drew Brees will probably retire. I think that Phillip Rivers will probably retire. And I cannot imagine a world in which Robert Kraft does not do whatever it takes to have Tom Brady retire in a New England Patriots uniform. So I don't think that any of those guys will be available to them. I don't think that Teddy Bridgewater is an option. I think he's going to get massively paid by somebody, as he should. I think that team actually might be the Saints, even though a lot of people are saying Taysom Hill is going to be the QB of the future there. I think Bridgewater proved that he could certainly be a very good option for the future in New Orleans. So I just don't see any other free agent choices that really match up with what the Bucs are trying to do. But when it comes to like what I would do, I would literally renounce Jameis Winston's rights. Wouldn't franchise tag him. Wouldn't let. I know there's something. I want to say there's something you can do in the NFL when a free agent hits the free agent pool where you can say, like, we're renouncing the rights. We don't take the cap hit. It gives us immediate cap room. There's no cap hold. I think there's something you can do like that. Or maybe I'm thinking the NBA. But I would not bring Jameis Winston back. I think what we've seen from him is what we're always going to see from him. And I kind of like, you know, I know that they've been linked with, I think Jordan Love is the one that everybody's talking about possibly going to the Bucs. I would really like them to take a look at Justin Herbert and
he's going first overall.
Jake Fromm. I don't think that they can get Tua. I think Tua's going to Miami. And I could see the Dolphins training up to get him. And I think we all know Joe Burrow, the Bengals would never trade out of that slot. I mean, I think it'd be the worst thing you could do. I mean, who I would ideally want, I don't know. Maybe you try to get Trevor Lawrence next year when he comes out. I mean, if you could get Burrow, I'd trade the whole house for him, but I don't think he's available. So I don't know. I just don't want Jameis Winston. I feel like any capable NFL starting quarterback could be plugged into Tampa with the receivers they have and really do some damage. And if they could get a slightly better O-line, could do some serious damage. Might be the best passing game in the NFL with Bruce Arians and all that. Andy, what do you think the Bucs are going to do?
You nailed it.
Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah. I was going to say Jameis Winston will be the quarterback next year on a one-year prove-it deal.
They're year of that.
I think they'll try to get a first-round quarterback talent like Justin Herbert. They're not going to get Joe Burrow 2-0.
Yeah.
For Locos kicking in. But Justin Herbert, I think, is the guy you go for.
Yeah.
I think, or maybe Jalen Hurts in day 3 is a possible try to go and get him and just see what happens.
Yeah, I really don't hate the idea of Jalen Hurts as a potential project.
Because free agents, literally, it's the smallest possibility of Dak Prescott or there's nobody available.
So, like, I didn't even address Dak Prescott. And like, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm sure somebody might be listening and going, well, Alex didn't talk about Dak Prescott, and you guys know I really like Dak Prescott. I just don't think that it'll be available. I think that if he was available and you're the Bucs,
does he fit in the Arian system?
Probably not, but I don't know, man. I think Prescott could fit in a lot of places.
He's the best option. I'll say that.
He's definitely the best free agent option if he's available, if he hits the market.
The smallest chance, like 0.01% chance that Dak's available, because Drew Brees is going to stay with the Saints. Tom Brady's going to the Patriots are apparently giving him $30 million a year to stay. He's not going anywhere.
I can't imagine
if he left,
would.
I don't see him going to Tampa.
No.
Phillip Rivers, unfortunately, I think isn't going to get signed by anybody and is going to be forced into retirement.
You know,
I think at best he's going to get a backup job, and I don't think he's going to take that.
He's got all those kids. He just moved to Florida. He doesn't need the money. I mean, let's just be real. He's talked about it openly. Like, he's not really playing for the money at this point. I mean, the money's good, no doubt. Yeah. But I just can't imagine a world where, you know, he doesn't just ride off into the sunset. And
it's a perfect point for him to. I mean, it's kind of getting forced in retirement, but at the same time, it's better to retire now than just ride the bench for a couple of years and have a sad ending, like Paul Pierce, for example.
Yeah, you know, you never want to have that last year that people try to forget about. You know, like, nobody wants to remember, for example, Johnny Unitas's last year. You know, it wasn't a good one. You know, Peyton Manning's last year was pretty rough. You know,
he got a ring, though.
You know, even Brett Favre's last year in Minnesota was pretty difficult to watch. And, like, maybe you just take the Marino route. You know, Marino's last year wasn't a good one. And, yeah, he could have come back and tried to chase a ring with another team and all that. He just wasn't interested. And I totally get that, you know. Like, I gotta be honest, man. You know, if I was an NFL player, of course you want to win a Super Bowl. But if you have a career like Phillip Rivers and you don't win one, I don't think that you're gonna be on your deathbed regretting not chasing a ring that last year. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just can't imagine.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. But I just don't think that, like, these guys lay awake at night, you know, like, oh my God, if I had won a Super Bowl, it totally would have changed my life. It's important, but it's not that important. You know, it's not like having a kid. So, you know, that's something that's like life changing. It's a huge accomplishment, and it's very rewarding, and it keeps paying off, you know, that kind of thing. So, anyway, it'll be exciting, you know, and I'm probably wrong, and I hope I am. I hope there's a pleasant surprise on the horizon for me as a Bucs fan, because I'm actually currently trying to score a good deal on season tickets. But anyway, that's another story for another podcast. So moving on to DCD Film Club. This week we covered one of my favorite movies of all time, believe it or not. A movie that anytime it's on TV, even though I own this movie, I still watch it on TV. I'll just sit there through the commercials and everything. I just love it that much. It's Bull Durham from 1988. So, I assume, Andy, you've already seen this film, right?
Nope.
Wait, no, come on.
Yeah, I'm lying. I'm just joking.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I haven't seen it before.
Wait, what?
No, I haven't seen it before.
You're kidding, right?
No.
No way.
Yes way.
Andy, you're one of the biggest baseball fans I know. I can't imagine that you've never seen this, especially since they play it on MLB Network all the time. You know, I mean, I don't know.
I don't have TV.
Well, okay, so I've seen it a billion times, and I mean, I have some thoughts on it that I will share with you. But seeing that Andy's never seen it before, I gotta ask you, Andy, what do you think?
No, it's okay.
Every week, every pick, every pick.
Hey, you should have been here for the Lighthouse. I was because it's my pick. You know, listen to the fans. Andy only cares about his own picks, even though I pick movies that I want. Like, that's the stupidest thing ever. I pick movies that I know I love. So obviously I'm gonna be okay. It's fine. It's a stereotypical baseball movie.
No, come on, man. Stereotypical.
Come on, man. It has all the gimmicks. It has the Hispanic dude that has weird superstition. Like, I don't know. There's some things like, I mean, it's also a typical romance story. I could see where it's going the entire time. It was. I mean, yeah. There's some things to appreciate, but there's some things it's like, oh yeah, it's just like every other baseball movie ever made.
Okay.
Like, there's things to appreciate, like the music. They didn't blast you with music the entire time. They let you appreciate silence. For example, like whenever he first arrived, there was no music in that scene. He was like, they're talking, and he's like, I quit. He leaves the room and sits there. One shot on the door. And he comes back. He's like, when's the next game? But there's no music blaring in your ear like every stereotypical movie today.
Okay.
I guess it's for the time so you can appreciate it. It's something I enjoyed.
It's a good point.
Other than that, yeah, it's pretty generic.
Okay. Well, I disagree completely. So I love this, and I hold this in very high regard. I think it's the best baseball movie ever. And I say that as someone who really loves Major League 1 and 2. I love them. I know they're stupid, and they're supposed to be stupid, but I love them. You know, a couple other really great baseball movies that stand out: A League of Their Own, Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner's in that, by the way. For love of the game. You know, even Ed.
It's a baseball monkey movie.
Oh my God, I remember that now. So, you know, Ed, jokingly, I say that. You know, there's some other really good ones that I'm probably forgetting. 61's amazing. The Babe
42.
is amazing. 42's outstanding. I saw that one in the theaters and was just blown away with how they totally nailed the Jackie Robinson story. It was more about him being a great baseball player instead of focusing solely on the race, because Jackie Robinson was one of the best baseball players of his era, maybe the best. So, Bull Durham, though, you know, obviously it's a fictional account. But what I liked about it, and you see this throughout all other Kevin Costner films that are baseball related, he's really a passionate fan for the game. But the attention to detail and the fact that it's a pretty realistic treatment of baseball. You know, they do take some creative liberties here and there, but in general, it does try to stay realistic while still telling a fictional story, which I certainly appreciate. There's no crazy over-the-top wackiness like you sometimes get in, like, the Major League movies, for example. So that's one reason I kind of fell in love with this one as a kid. And then, in addition, I feel like it's shot really well. Like Andy talked about that one shot. It's really well done. The game shots are done well. Just there's so many memorable moments that were shot so beautifully throughout that, you know, you never forget them. You know, the scene with Kevin Costner where he's waiting for Susan Sarandon on her porch. You know, you can't forget that shot. It's just that good. It's iconic. It's so memorable. Kevin Costner's acting performance is outstanding. You really feel it. You fall in love with the Crash Davis character, even with his faults. Tim Robbins, same thing. Great performance. Maybe his best performance, period. I've seen Tim Robbins in quite a bit of... Well, hold on. Shawshank. Okay, never mind. But Tim Robbins, I always forget that he was in that. Tim Robbins really kills it here. I mean, he plays the meathead perfectly. He, you know, the back and forth with him and Costner felt very organic. It was just really well done. It felt so natural. And I think it really puts this movie over the top from a thematic approach that I'll talk about in a minute. Susan Sarandon is also just outstanding. Like, just crazy good performance from her. And I think those three performances really carry the movie from an acting standpoint. I like the writing. I know Andy says it was generic, but from a thematic standpoint, I think it really fills two main holes, if you will, right? So the first one is, it's not just a great baseball film. It's a lot about passing the torch. You know, you have the grizzled veteran who's basically on his last chance. He knows this might be his last ride. You know, he's never going to make it to the majors. He's just playing for his love of the game at this point, and he just doesn't know when it's like going to fully stop. You know, and then you have this guy who has all the talent in the world, none of the brains, none of the knowledge for the game, none of the respect for the game, and he kind of picks that up from Crash Davis. Like, and you see the maturation throughout, and then at the very end, it's like this really touching moment where you see him, he's giving the interview, and he's basically saying all the stuff that Crash told him to say, and it's kind of like this nice way of looping it around. You go, well, he was listening, and while he was difficult, he did mature, and, you know, presumably he goes on to have a good career. You know, meanwhile, Crash is trying to adjust to, like, the reality that his baseball career is over. And I think it's kind of a beautiful story about, on your way out, you give back, you pass the torch, you help out someone who's just starting out, you give them that chance that they need to succeed, you share your knowledge before you walk out the door for the final time. And I just thought that was great. You know, one thing I'll never forget is he sets the home run record and calls it a dubious honor. I mean, it's just, there's so many iconic quotes and scenes in this film. And then the love story itself is actually kind of a good one. I mean, Andy says it was predictable. I mean, of course, you know, Crash Davis and Susan Sarandon's character, whose name escapes me at the moment, you know they're going to get together at the end. But I mean, they do some fun stuff with it throughout, and it's really, I thought it was well written. So watched it with my wife. She had never seen it before. She's not someone I would call a baseball fan, but we laughed a lot throughout this. I think it's successful as a rom-com and as a sports film, and I think that marriage of the two wasn't something that on paper I thought would work. If you had come to me with this idea of, we're going to do a rom-com, but it's also going to be a baseball movie that gives a good treatment to the game in a serious way, I'd be like, that's not going to work. But they make it work, and I think that's why, like I said, I feel like this is the best baseball movie of all time, and there's a lot of good ones out there, and we could probably debate that if you want to tweet me about it or whatever, because I know everybody has their own favorite. But overall, like I said, amazing. Out of 10, I gave it an 8. So, and I will tell you this, if you want to watch a sports film with your wife or significant other or somebody, maybe your husband's not into sports and you are, this is a great one, because everybody will get into it. Andy, what's your rating out of 10? I'm going to guess
5 out of 10. Okay, movie.
I was going to say 5. There you go.
5 out of 10.
Well, great. Another week where we disagree, but that's what makes DCD Film Club a DCD Film Club. If it was us agreeing every week, it'd just be like DCD Agree Club. Yeah, it'd be annoying.
I didn't like narration. Stop. I hate narration. It sucks. There's narration for no reason. Just show me they go on a win streak and not tell me.
See, it's stupid. I thought it was charming. I don't
cheap.
know. Oh, well, agree to disagree on that. I usually would agree with you on that, but I think that it works for Bull Durham, I guess is what I would say.
Speaking about earlier topic, narration Goodfellas, I enjoy it after thinking about it.
Yeah.
There's one movie I remember talking about narration, and I forget what it is, so it probably still sounds true. But this one, there's no reason. It's just a cheap storytelling tactic that you could have shown a montage or something. It's just not needed.
Well, fair enough. So next week it is Andy's pick. Andy, what do you got for us?
So my last pick, The Lighthouse, which Alex hasn't seen. So a similar movie to that, and that is, let me Google the year. So the similarities are they're both about the sea.
Mm-hmm.
And my pick for this week is, as it doesn't pop up when I Google it, it is from 2004, the Spongebob Squarepants movie.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Dead serious. SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
I'll be honest with you, I have not seen this one.
Well, that's my pick.
I didn't realize that got made in 2004. I guess it makes sense, though. I remember SpongeBob, like, really blew up in, like, 02, 03. So, that's cool. I look forward to it. Where can we find it, Andy?
You can find it on YouTube, Google Play, Prime, Vudu, iTunes, $2.99. It's on Hulu, HBO Now, and HBO Go.
So if you have Hulu, you can watch it as part of your membership, basically.
Yep.
That's
cool. That's how it works.
Well, no, I didn't know, because some Hulu stuff, it's like you have to buy an add-on, or like it's paid content or whatever. So that's cool. I'll probably use my Hulu for that.
I'm checking it now, just to make sure. 'Cause sometimes they pop up and they say that you can stream them, but you can't.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, well, you have to add the HBO add-on, and I'm like, I don't want the HBO add-on.
It is HBO add-on.
And
it's only on HBO, so
always the Hobo channel, dude. Hobo channel always gets me.
They make the best TV, though.
They do make the best TV, but like when they did Game of Thrones, I forget how they did it exactly, but they kind of staggered. I want to say they took like a 1 week break, or like, and it's like just enough for you to have to pay for 3 months of it. Just like CBS All Access did the same thing with Star Trek Discovery. There was just like one extra episode where it was like, you're gonna have to pay for another month. They know exactly how to get. Oh, the HBO. They got me on Chernobyl. I had to pay for an extra month just to see that.
So you had to pay for 2 months.
I just had to see that live, but it was worth it. Chernobyl's amazing. Go out there and check it out if you haven't already.
Outsider's good, apparently. I'm waiting for it to end to watch it.
Well, yeah, there you go. I've heard good things about that too. So moving on to something that wasn't so good, at least for our friend Andy here. It's the Super Bowl. So, Andy, thoughts on the Super Bowl?
You know, probably you expected a rant at the beginning, not really.
Okay.
There's a lot of 49er fans throwing out hot takes like we should get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, sometimes teams just lose games.
Yeah.
Chris Jones took over Patrick Mahomes on the offense-wise, and the Chiefs, you know, they deserve to win the game. They played better.
Yeah, I was kind of blown away. I really thought the 49ers had it when they were up by 10. I want to say that the odds, ESPN does like this thing where they put like what the percentage that a team is going to win the game at any given time. And I want to say they were like 90+% chance that they were going to win the game when they are up by 10 in the fourth. But just a really tough one to watch. The moment that just kind of broke my heart was the Watkins catch. Richard Sherman should not be covering any receiver one-on-one. Like, I'm sorry. I know he disagrees all the time with people on Twitter about his man coverage skills. At this point in his career, he is not a man-to-man threat like he once was. And I would tell you that if you really go back and watch his best years, he really succeeds more within his zone. But that's just my take on Richard Sherman, who, by the way, is amazing, and he's had 2 amazing years in San Francisco. It's just that one play, you're like, oh, God, that's what everybody's going to remember about Richard Sherman this year now.
I can't complain about officiating, but we lost the game. So There was some bad officiating, but
I appreciate
we
you taking
shouldn't
the
have
high
put
road on that.
ourselves. We shouldn't have put ourselves in a scenario where a one call officiating changes the game.
See, now if
that makes any sense.
That's such a mature and responsible way of looking at it. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is like, there's certain fan bases that are worse with it than others, probably because they're bigger fan bases. So I really shouldn't say that, but I really just dislike when you see somebody on Twitter and they're like, yeah, this team would have won the game if it was for better officiating. No, they wouldn't have. They lost by 3 touchdowns. Like, get out of here. You know, if you're a Saints fan, you know, last year, okay, I kind of get it, you know, because that was just blatant and it was totally missed. But, you know, overall, officiating kind of, a lot of times bad calls get made both ways.
Yeah.
If that
Chris
makes
Jones
sense.
should have won Super Bowl MVP. Chris Jones took over in the fourth quarter.
He should have, I think. I when they said Pat Mahomes won, and I said, why? It just
Chris
didn't
Jones
make much sense
disrupted
to me.
every single play. He either swatted the ball or he's in the quarterback's face getting pressure.
Yeah, it was a very impressive performance by the Chiefs defense to completely shut down the 49ers run game in most aspects or most points in the game. They really shut that down, and I think it turned the 49ers into a one-dimensional team and, you know, kind of threw them off their game plan enough to where they could sneak back in. So, you know, and I guess it's kind of nice because I know quite a few Chiefs fans. And because I used to work with a bunch of people based out of Missouri, and I know quite a few of them were very happy to see this because they've never seen their team win a Super Bowl before. So, you know, that's kind of cool and refreshing. But I think the 49ers will be back, and I think the Chiefs will be back as well. And, you know, I know it's probably historically this typically doesn't happen, but I could totally see the Chiefs and 49ers making the Super Bowl again next year. And we get
the difference
like
between
a
49ers
rematch.
and most teams that lose the Super Bowl, they didn't lose a single coach. Oh, they lost the DB coach, but they're bringing in Chris Richard, which is arguably a better DB coach.
Yeah.
He was a DB coach in Seattle for this Legion of Doom. Yeah, I mean, all the coaches are there. They're pretty much the only big free agents, Eric Armstead, and John Lynch has gone out and said that they're probably going to tag him.
They're not completely cap strapped, you know, because a lot of teams that lose the Super Bowl, they lose a bunch of players. Even when you win a Super Bowl, you usually lose a bunch of players to free agency because when you win a Super Bowl, you usually get a big deal in free agency.
I don't think we're going to get any better next year, as in roster, like on paper.
No.
But this team's super young. Patrick Mahomes has less starts than Baker Mayfield. Patrick Mahomes. Sorry. Four Loco's definitely kicking in. Jimmy Garoppolo has less starts than Baker Mayfield. This is Jimmy Garoppolo's first full season. He went 15-4. He's not a bad quarterback. Statistically speaking, he had a better season than Matt Ryan did his MVP season. But people won't look at that because he lost in the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, there you go. I think they'll be back, and I don't think that there's any reason to worry about Jimmy Garoppolo as far as, like, is he the starter or not the starter? Like, I don't think there's
stupid
any.
if you think he's bad.
Yeah, I don't really buy into that rhetoric at all. But moving on to another topic, I'm actually afraid to ask about this one. Mookie Betts getting traded to the LA Dodgers. We kind of knew that Mookie Betts was potentially on the move, but I got to be honest, this particular trade kind of surprised me with how little return they got on this one. So to break it down here, Mookie Betts, David Price, and cash from Boston in exchange for Alex Verdugo, Verdugo, and Brusder Gratterall. Not really sure how to, I'm probably butchering that. And then Minnesota got involved apparently. I didn't see this part. Kenta Maeda goes to Minnesota. So Andy, how do you feel about this one as a Boston Red Sox fan? Well, Andy has his mic muted at the moment. I'm assuming there's some dog business going on.
So the trade isn't complete yet.
Okay.
Because Brusdar Graterol, the Red Sox said he's going to be a starter after medical reports. He turns out to be a reliever. They want more out of the trade, which probably won't be anything. It'll probably be the Twins giving them something else. And also, Graterol is within a domestic violence thing right now. So the trade hasn't gone through yet. There's a small chance it doesn't go through. Probably will. Boston side, we're still a good team. It frees up a bunch of money. We're probably going to use that money. There's a lot of conspiracy theories that we're just going to use that money because we killed basically half a David Price's contract. There's this dumb conspiracy theory that we're going to sign Mookie Betts because he is an impending free agent at the end of the year. There's a small chance that happens. I doubt it. I think where we're going to get the money is we're going to re-sign Rafael Devers and keep our young core of him, Bogarts, Benintendi together. Verdugo is pretty solid piece to get back. It's not that bad of a piece. You really want more out of giving away two pieces. Like Dave Price isn't a bad player anymore. He's a decent starter. He's not an ace by any means, but he's a solid piece in the rotation. He threw for like 3.98, I think, ERA or something like that last year. And then Mookie Betts is top 5 baseball player in the league, and you got Alex Verdugo back. So, I mean, you didn't win the trade. You had to trade him for something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's better than nothing, I guess. I don't know. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I guess I get the rationale of why there wasn't much to get, because first things first. Mookie Betts presumably, I can't imagine he signs I don't even know what the rule is.
Yeah, he
in
wants
baseball.
to test free agency.
Okay, so he wants.
Like he's gone out
actually
openly said that he wants to test for free agency.
Okay, so like, I assume he would be the type of guy who would want to hit the market, get into a bidding war with a couple. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be interested
the entire
in
league.
Mookie Betts.
Anybody who has money. He's literally a top 2 player in baseball.
Well, I don't think the Marlins will be interested because I don't think they want to pay him. But
it's whoever has the money.
Yeah, I think the big teams. I would assume Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox, maybe the Rangers as a dark horse. Like all the teams that actually spend money in baseball. I think he'd be a really good fit. God, he'd be fit anywhere. But I mean, if you were like, let's just say hypothetically, the Atlanta Braves, and you add Mookie Betts, you're instantly more of a contender, as opposed to a team that's probably going to win your division each year, or, Washington doesn't have the money to do it. But like, imagine Washington picking up Mookie Betts. Like, it'd be crazy.
They lost Rendon. They lost Bryce.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But I get the rationale. I just, as a Boston fan, I'd be really upset by this because, listen, I've been there. Like I saw the Marlins, trade Giancarlo Stanton for some fodder and Starling Castro, who
Verdugo is a great piece to get back. He
is a good piece to get back.
And Graterol is the 70th ranked prospect in all of baseball. He's apparently filthy. But he's a reliever.
Yeah.
And also he has domestic abuse things going on around him right now.
I don't know. Might work out. Sometimes these deals work out, though. Like you think about it and you go, well, shoot, I'm trying to think of an example with the Marlins that really worked out. Here's a good one. I want to say that Mike Lowell, when he got traded, we got a good piece back.
Chris Archer trade.
Chris Archer trade's a good one.
Isn't Marlins, but
no, it's a good one. Even like, so one trade that worked out was Yelich to the Brewers, right? So the Brewers gave up 2 of their top prospects, and one of them, Lewis Brinson, I think is pretty much Dunyan rings, but Monty Harrison is lighting it up in the minors, and that was one piece that came back in the Yelich trade. So, sometimes you can get a pretty good haul. And Graterol might be, everybody could use a good reliever. They're kind of the unsung heroes in baseball. But
and the Red Sox bullpen's garbage.
Well, a lot of bullpens are garbage. Good relievers are getting harder and harder to find in the MLB.
Yeah, because the Yankees own all of them.
It's very true, and there's a good reason why they do, because they usually cost quite a bit of money. Anyway, moving on to another trade topic here, this time in the NBA. D'Angelo Russell, a guy that me and Andy went back and forth on this and talked about it quite a bit before the season. I thought Golden State was going to probably hold on to Russell. I thought they might dangle him as trade bait, but I really didn't think he'd get traded at the deadline. And I forget what Andy thought. I think Andy was saying they were going to keep him too. But
couldn't tell you.
Well, Golden State's trading D'Angelo Russell to Minnesota. That gives them Andrew Wiggins, a 2021 protected first round pick, and a 2022 second round pick. And that's reported by ESPN, so pretty legit. Warriors will send Jacob Evans and Amari Spellman to the Timberwolves, presumably to match salaries, because that Andrew Wiggins contract is massive. So, Andy, how do you feel about this one?
It's good for both ends. Timberwolves, they can't stop losing. They were on a, last time I checked, 13-game losing streak, 14-game losing streak, and their star Karl-Anthony Towns said, "I'm tired of losing."
Yeah.
There's some negative sides to it. D'Angelo Russell and Cat are best friends, but the last time Timberwolves made the playoffs was with that. They had the same squad pretty much, and they had Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler pushed Cat and them. They pushed the young people, and they're like, "You gotta stop fooling around."
Yeah.
And then he basically got pushed out because they didn't like him because he was pushing them way too hard. So there is like a doomsday like scenario where they have just like they're just having fun. And they don't win games.
Okay.
But there's also the potential that D'Angelo Russell and Cat just the bond between them turns into a good team that could potentially go for the playoffs. I don't think they'll make the playoffs this year, but in the future, obviously. And then for Golden State wise, the trading D'Angelo, I don't know why they did it at the deadline. They should have done it at the end of the season and at least saw how Russell and Curry play together, because Curry would come back at the end of the year, presumably. But I guess they decided to move on. Andrew Wiggins kind of fits in that Harrison Barnes role that he had several years ago, where he's the third scoring option behind Curry and Klay Thompson. He's just a kind of he is a one-dimensional player as he is, and that's kind of what they want from him, to be a one-dimensional player. And also him going to a system that is like the Spurs, where it's like we're expected to win here. He's going into a system like the Patriots, for example, in like the NFL, is a system where like you're not going to get an easy pass. You're going to have to work hard. And if you're not, you're going to lose your spot.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's it.
So I have similar thoughts on it, but I'm going to slightly disagree with you on a few things. So first off, I agree with you. I think this is good for both teams. This is one of those few trades where, and these are the best trades, in my opinion. You see them a lot more in baseball, where I have a good reliever, you need a good reliever. I don't really need this reliever because I have a bunch of other good ones. I do need a left-handed bat. You have too many left-handed bats. Let's trade. And like both teams get something that make both teams better. You don't see that so much in the NBA because of things like salary dumps and cap restrictions and luxury tax and all that. This is refreshing. This is the most exciting trade I saw at the deadline. The Drummond trade was kind of an exciting one for a different reason.
Drummond got traded for like half a bag of chips.
There was a lot of drama. I mean, Drummond was very upset by it, and I still have no idea what New York's thinking, but whatever. New York's gonna New York stuff. But I like this. The Knicks are gonna do Knicks stuff, dude. The Knicks.
How do they have to play with the Drummond trade?
What do you mean?
He went to Cleveland.
Oh, crap. Wrong tanking team. What am I thinking?
Drummond got traded to Cleveland.
Yeah,
for
that's right.
Literally a bag of chips.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, dude. Earlier in the week, I kept reading these reports that New York was like really interested in possibly trading.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I got mixed up, man. Wrong team that's tanking this year. But I got this. I kept reading news reports that the Knicks were really interested, but then they were like, well, why don't we just wait till free agency? But the Cavs are doing this. I have no idea why, but anyway, it is what it is. This trade is great. Golden State had a glut of guards, in my opinion. I think we all would have liked to see how Russell and Curry and Klay Thompson would all play together on the same court. I think it could have been exciting. It could have not worked. We just don't know. I think it would have been kind of like the Chris Paul, James Harden duo where everybody was like, we don't know how they're going to play together. And they ended up actually being pretty good together. So kind of sad we won't get that. But I think D'Angelo Russell will be way more successful long-term in Minnesota than he would have been in Golden State. Conversely, Wiggins in Minnesota never really worked all the way. I'm still a believer that Andrew Wiggins is a high-level basketball player. I know a lot of people think that he's completely one-dimensional. I do think that there is somewhere in there. He showed it in college. He's shown glimpses of it in the pros. I think he can be a good defender as well as someone who can put up points. So I think in the Warriors system, he could work out. He could take on a new role. I think the Harrison Barnes comp is a good one. Someone who could be a good third scoring option. I think he's a better scorer than Barnes. I do want to see him defend as well as Barnes, because I think Barnes was a little bit better of a defender when he went to Golden State. But love the trade. I think this makes the Warriors a really scary team going forward. I mean, I would imagine guarding Wiggins, Curry, and Klay Thompson, and then you got Draymond Green knocking around there somewhere, being a pain.
They also have the money to sign Giannis.
There you go. I mean, I think it's going to
Giannis-esque player.
I think they could add a lot of players and
also
do
the
some
draft
serious
picks,
damage.
If this team doesn't work, they have a young core for the future and Eric Pascal and a bunch of draft picks.
I do believe they have their own. Do they have their own pick this year?
Yeah, I assume.
I'll have to look that up, because Golden State is in line for what should be a pretty good draft pick. Right now, they are dead last in the NBA. Last time I checked in the standings, so they do own their own pick. So they could be the 49ers of the NBA, where they kind of unintentionally have a bad year, end up with a really good pick, and then they add it to a really good roster of guys returning from injury. So definitely a good trade for both teams. I didn't think Russell was going to get moved, but I got to be honest, if you're the Warriors, you pick up the phone and they're giving you this haul, you just
pretty much nothing. You got D'Angelo Russell for nothing.
Yeah.
You got D'Angelo Russell for
a signing trade with
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, for a guy that was going to leave you anyway. So
yeah,
they basically turned a sign and trade into Andrew Wiggins, a protected first round pick and a second round pick. That's crazy good.
Spellman and Evans are just meaningless role players.
Yeah, they're replaceable talent, I think. So moving on to another trade rumor in the sports world. This time,
all about the trades.
It's all about trades this week. Apparently, Todd Gurley trade rumors. This is like picking up a lot of steam. I heard a lot of people talking about the potential of a Todd Gurley trade. I can't imagine anybody trading for him, given he just didn't look fully healthy this year, and the contract is a nightmare. Yeah. Andy, what does he have as knee? Arthritis is the rumor.
That's the word. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed, but
it was confirmed. Well, then there you go. I mean,
I was gonna say Alzheimer's. The Four Loko was definitely affecting me on the episode.
Imagine if your knees had Alzheimer's, or like, I don't know to go left or right. Do I bend in or out?
The left knee or the right knee? Yeah. I don't know. It's proven now at this point that running backs don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the past decade of Super Bowl winners. None of them had a star running back. Like, running backs don't really matter in this league anymore. They do matter, all right, but someone that's getting paid superstar money like Todd Gurley.
Yeah, it's fair.
I guess a team could work it out to where they could win it all. Like, basically the formula for winning the Super Bowl the past couple of years has been a quarterback with a cheap contract, a running back with a cheap contract, and then you build everything around that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess it could work out. I don't know many teams that will go out and trade for him, but also at the Rams' point, the Rams are screwed. They have money everywhere. They're not going to get... Like, they have no money to get better. Eric Weddle recently retired. And, like, they just have a bunch of stars that aren't really going to do anything, so they got to tank, I guess. And they're going to trade Todd Gurley for, like, a third or fourth round, fifth round draft pick.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm willing to say that running backs are completely useless, but I will say this. They are, I hate to say this about somebody, but they're easily replaced, if that makes sense. Like,
I'm saying running backs after rookie contract aren't worth anything. Rookie contract running backs,
yeah,
great. But once they get that extension, teams just don't seem to win anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really feel like he earned the contract. So, like,
yeah, he's his best running back in the league at the time.
I don't want to be the guy who says he didn't earn the contract, but I think the contract makes him very difficult to trade. But, you know, God, if he does go somewhere, I hope it's somewhere good. It's kind of weird to see the Rams even entertaining this possibility because, you know, how can I put it? You're opening a new stadium next year. You don't want a losing team in there because there's a phenomenal article that was done on ESPN. Please look it up if you haven't read this. It's an amazing article where they talk about how the LA stadium deal came together, how the deal with the Chargers being a tenant at the stadium came together, the discourse that's been going on between the two organizations on how to handle selling seat licenses and season tickets and et cetera, and the struggles they've had selling them in both organizations to a varying degree. The Rams have done it a little bit better than the Chargers. But I can't imagine going into the LA market, brand new stadium, that they're going to want a losing team. But
that's what's looking like in both teams, unfortunately.
Yeah,
both LA teams.
Well, LA is going to be the Chargers are going to be tanking,
and they already don't have fans.
Well, the Chargers have had a heck of a time selling tickets in LA. And the Rams are having a hard time, too.
Best case scenario, Chargers get Joe Burrow. Or Tua.
They're not going to get Burrow, but...
There's a small chance. It's not wild that they could possibly move up. I think they have the fifth pick or the sixth pick.
Yeah.
There's a small chance the Bengals go with Tua or Justin Herbert.
I don't know.
And then obviously number 2 is going to be Chase Young.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. You know, maybe they get the Godfather type offer that they can't refuse, and they do trade down. But
or maybe they do like an RG3-esque trade and move up to 1.
I mean, if I needed a quarterback, I would totally make that trade. You know, and I know a lot of people criticize the RG3 trade. Had RG3's knee not given out, that trade would have been worth it. RG3 carried that team to the playoffs his rookie year, and I think he was just going to get better from there.
Kyle Shanahan was on that roster, or the coach staff. I mean,
yeah,
great guy. So Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan. I'm pretty sure Mike Vrabel was also on the coaching staff.
Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan did a great job of installing a very good and very unique offense, utilizing RG3 had just amazing talent. He had a great arm. He could run the ball. He could run a read option. He was the ultimate dual threat, in my opinion.
He's what Lamar Jackson is today.
Lamar Jackson is a slightly better version of what I think RG3 was going to be. I mean, they're remarkably similar, and they're both remarkably talented.
They're both running backs.
No.
I'm kidding.
But listen, RG3 had some wheels, bro, and go look up some RG3 rookie season highlights, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Baylor highlights.
Yeah, look at the Baylor highlights, but the kid could throw too. And I'll tell you, Lamar Jackson can definitely throw too. He's getting better every year, and I think he's going to continue getting better as a thrower. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. But if you're the Rams, I think Todd Gurley is really your only trade piece that makes any sense, because
Jalen Ramsey.
You're not going to trade, maybe, but I can't imagine that you would trade Aaron Donald or Jared Goff.
There's nothing you can get back in the world to equal Aaron Donald.
Nothing. And
he's literally the best defensive player in the league by a mile.
I did see rumblings of Brandon Cooks being traded, but at this point, I love Brandon Cooks. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. You guys know that, but I wouldn't trade anything for Brandon Cooks. I wouldn't make a single offer, because I don't even know if he's going to ever be able to play again.
Yeah, like a 6th or 7th pick, 6th, 7th round.
One more concussion, and I think he's done for good, and that stinks.
Hey, if you already got CTE, why not keep on playing, bro?
That's messed up. They won't let him touch a field, man.
If you already got it, why not?
Well, yeah, YOLO. Right?
What's going to happen? You're just going to get worse CTE? No way.
You're just going to turn into Aaron Hernandez. No, terrible joke. But CTE is really concerning. And, I totally get why players are, I'd be very concerned. If I'm the league, I would be concerned, but I don't think the league is as concerned as they should be. Anyway, that's a rant for another day. That's going to do it for DCD 67. I really appreciate everybody listening, and I did want to mention a couple things. So as we wrapped up January 2020, I did want to thank you guys for the number 2 month all-time on podcast downloads, so in views on YouTube. We could just combine them all. So thanks for that. I really appreciate it. This month, off to a somewhat promising start, but definitely could be doing a little bit better. So if you want to help out the podcast, one way you can do that is tell a friend about the podcast if you're enjoying it. And that's a good parlay into wrap up here. In the link, as always, t-shirts. You buy one, we get $6. You get a t-shirt. They're great. And it really helps cover our costs. Yeah, wear it on date, wear it to a job interview, wear it to meet your future in-laws. They'll love it. They'll be like, what's DCD? And you're like, well, why don't you listen to it? And that's 2 new people that will be listening to the podcast. Anyway, we also have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/DCD podcast. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. You get early access. You can submit picks for the film club poll every 3 weeks. All kinds of great stuff. Full breakdown on there. Like I said, for as little as $1 a month. Want to thank our current patrons, Dumbest Sphinx in the egg tier, Bobby in the Andy tier, and Jared and Daniel in the gold tier. Thank you guys. You guys are literally the reason we're able to pay for our podcast hosting. So thank you for that. And then if you can't do either one of those, there's some free ways that you can help us out. You can leave us a review on iTunes. We'll give you a shout out on the show. And also you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if we get to 100 subscribers, we can actually get a custom URL on there, which would be really cool. And yeah, finally, go head over to deadchannelduo.com. You can find every platform where we're available. We're on just about everything nowadays. So before we get out of here, Andy, anything else you want to say, man? As you do a Drake here and hold the mic handheld, I kind of love that. Drake, you're awesome for doing that.
DCD 69 Sonic review. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
That's coming up. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to
I don't know
Sonic.
what I'd rather want to do than watch Sonic movie on Valentine's Day.
I got my wife's,
the day comes out.
Yeah, I got my wife's approval to do that on Valentine's Day, and she actually bought me. I'll have to post it on Instagram, but she purchased a shirt for me for the movie. It's not the official movie shirt because the official movie shirts are terrible. Like, shame on you, Sega. For
At my
not making
theater,
good
we
ones.
only have icy cups.
Yeah, well,
for the movie.
Yeah, she
and
got
also
me
this week we have Birds of Prey. Yeah, superhero movies. Woo.
Well,
yeah,
can't wait.
We had 2 pre-sale tickets at my theater.
Oh,
2.
Well, look at that. Yeah,
2.
I gotta buy my Sonic tickets. I've been slacking on that, but I didn't know if I was gonna be able to get off work early enough to go, so I might have to see it on a Saturday. Anyway, DC 69. We'll do a full review on that. Hope you guys are looking forward to it. And that's going to do it for 67. Thanks for listening. We will see you next week for DCD 68.
I'll go eat some pizza rolls because I'm drunk. Bye.